Our God isn't that complicated. Say, what do you mean? Well, just try to bear with me for a moment. Jesus simply said this. Jesus said, if you love me, you will obey me. Meaning, lots of times people wonder, oh my goodness, what's God's love language? How do I show God that I love him? Is it how loud I sing? Is it how much I go to church? Is it how much money I put into the offering container? Is it the duration of my fast? How do I show God that I love him? Jesus makes it really simple. He says, if you love me, you will simply obey me. God's love language has always been one thing. It's called obedience. Here's what I've learned. I've honestly learned that we start talking about things like obedience, and right away, a lot of us, we kind of cringe. Oh, obedience. I don't like that word. Here's what I've discovered. Obedience, really, a better way of saying it is just to simply trust God's plan over your plan. God, I'm actually going to trust your plan over my plan. I'm going to obey you. Ultimately, God, I'm going to let you lead me. Hear me tonight. The problem for so many of us is this. Until you understand how much God loves you, you'll never allow God to lead you. Paul says this in Ephesians. He says, I want you to try and grasp how wide, how deep, how high, how long God's love is. Because when you do that, you'll be full of the measure of God's love. Hear me loud and clear tonight. Whatever you are full of is what you'll be led by. The problem for a lot of us tonight is that we're not full of God's love. Instead, we're full of anger. That's why we're always led by our anger. Some of us were full of bitterness. That's why we're always led by our bitterness. Some of us are full of unforgiveness because something happened in our past, and because of it, unforgiveness leads us. But Paul says this. Paul says maturity in God is not when you begin to proclaim your love for God, but rather when you stand and you bask in God's love for you. I want to get full of God's love. Now I'll be led by God's love.